Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Derek Mitchell, and I'm just standing up today as opposed to sitting down in my comfortable chair. I hope everyone's having a good day. It's Thursday here in the Niagara region, Ontario, Canada, and I wanted to just have a quick video, maybe not so quick, but a video about ketosis, low-carb eating, and how that can benefit you in your daily life. So let's get to it. So I wrote down a list, and I'll attach that list to the bottom of this video. Appreciate any comments, or if you like this video, please like this video. My email before we get started is niagaraedge@gmail.com. So thank you for spending the time with me today. So why would you want to use this way of eating, low carb, ketogenic? There's different variations of low carb. You can have very low carb, which essentially means lower than 20 grams net grams of carbohydrates per day. And those carbohydrates should not come from any processed format, so it should be from natural sources. If you're going to do carbs and you're not eating meat, and you're not including meat or eggs or something like that, but things like very raw vegetables would be okay to a certain point to bring you close to that 20 gram. Some people even do close to zero. I would suggest just try to keep it to 20 or less net grams per day. Net gram meaning that your fiber will be reduced from the total carbohydrate level of that particular food. Make sure you be conscious of the servings that you choose when you're eating your foods, whether broccoli, spinach, asparagus, whatever vegetables you choose to include. They're good for you as far as nutrients go, but they can increase your carbohydrate level, and we want to keep the carbohydrate level down in order to be able to have our body burning fat. So what are some of the benefits of this type of eating? Now, some people could be in good condition, where physical condition, where they're not fat and they don't need to lose weight, but they still may want to eat this way. And I think it's a very healthy way of eating. And this is sort of where I've been going lately. Now, since I've been starting this way of eating this time around, this is my third major time losing weight using low carb or ketogenic eating. So I find it to be something that I can do. Now I'm sort of close to my goal weight, around 190 pounds. I might go another 10 pounds lower or thereabouts, but generally I'm in the ballpark. So now what I'm doing is doing some resistance training, some fitness, some weightlifting. Just one second. So these kind of things, dumbbells, very small. I have a 10 pounder as well, and just basically resistance training and that type of thing to be able to push your body to improve your muscular tone. I would suggest to avoid doing something like a treadmill or that type of thing. Resistance training, exercise, that's the kind of thing you want to be focusing on. Resistance bands, if you happen to have those, are great. You can just use stretchy bands. You can just hold your foot and do upward motions with your arms, or you can use your legs, whatever you choose. Resistance bands, some free weights, maybe doing some lunges or some squats, that type of thing. That gets your body more firm, and that's going to improve it, but it's not going to stress you out in the sense of you're not going to be producing excess cortisol, and the cortisol causes stress, and then therefore you're going to block off your ability to lose weight. So if you're doing exercise, keep it to those resistance weights, etc. Try to keep it not too intense so that you don't produce cortisol and therefore produce stress and reduce your ability to lose weight if that's what you're trying to do. Okay, so I got a list of 6 items that are going to hopefully give you some motivation to continue this way of eating. Before I start the list, remember, this is supposed to be a journey. Some people use it as a short-term measure to get to a certain weight, and then they go back to their previous way of eating. My suggestion to you is you need to look at your own body and decide what's good for you. When you're going through this way of eating, look at the foods you're eating and see how it makes you feel. If a food doesn't make you feel good, then maybe remove it from the list. Some people can't tolerate dairy, some people can. Some people, if you eat way too much fat, then you find your body doesn't like it as well. So you need to look at your body responses and understand what works for you. Some people love caffeine, other people don't. Caffeine can stress out your adrenal glands, so keep in mind that that's something you want to maybe just test out on your own system to figure out what works for you. So thanks. All right, so let's go through that list. The first one of the big ones in my opinion is basically it suppresses your appetite. When you start eating fats, a moderate amount of protein, your body is going to say, "Oh, I like this food that I'm eating. It's making me full. It's making me satisfied." Eating to satisfaction or satiation is really important. Not, basically trying to starve yourself. Starving, reducing calories really, in my opinion, does not work. What you want to do is eat the right types of foods, eat them to satisfaction, not to bloatedness or full, not to stuff yourself crazy, but just to eat so you feel like you've enjoyed your meal, you're full, and now you can move on to your other daily activities. Hopefully, with the appetite suppression too, you're not going to want to eat for 4, 6, maybe 8, even longer amount of hours depending on your circumstances. It can be challenging when you're working and you have to schedule those meals, especially when you're making meat and eggs and cheese to be able to heat them up. So there are strategies that, and we can talk about that in other videos, but one of the big benefits is that it suppresses your appetite after you've had a good meal, and you won't feel like eating for a long period of time after that. Okay, fat consumption, number 2. Fat consumption without carbohydrates. So remember, we're focusing on restricting carbohydrates. When you eat more fat in your diet, you want to have this type of diet is higher fat or healthy fat and medium or moderate protein. And there's different definitions for what moderate protein is, but if you go over 110, you're tending to go into the high category, 100 grams of protein. So try to keep it at least under 100, maybe even lower. If you're a woman, you may have a need for 50 or 60, depending on what your body size is, etc. So keep the protein moderate. You still need protein to grow muscles. What the fat does, though, it allows you not to, when you're getting into the ketosis or into the ketogenic way of eating, what you're doing is you want your body to burn fat, not muscle. So if you don't eat enough fat, it's going to go attack your muscles. It could go attack your muscles. So eat enough fat. Make sure you have a ratio. I'm just ballparking it here for whatever gram of protein that you eat. You maybe want to eat 1.5 to 2 grams of fat. So you want to be 1.5 to 2 to 1, and that way you'll be assured that you're going to have enough fat in the diet and not too much protein in the diet. Okay, one of the benefits, number 3, is your stomach. Your abdominal region is going to be affected more positively than many other parts of your body. I mean, of course, you're going to lose fat everywhere, but your abdominal region, when you have ketosis in full effect, it's going to attack all the fat in your body, but it's also going to more effectively affect the abdominal region. One of the things it does inside your body also is it attacks the fat around your organs. So one of the things that people have sometimes is they have fat around different organs and they don't even know it because they haven't had the right medical test done to see that level of fat that's around their organs. It could be their heart, their liver, etc. But you want to be able to reduce your abdominal region. Belly fat is not good, so you want to get rid of it as much as possible. I still have a little bit to go. One thing I'm working on myself is the exercise component, doing some crunches, doing some strength exercises. Again, no cardio, just try to avoid that completely. I do some walking, like to walk, but that's for pleasure, okay? One of the things about the fat around the organs is you have something in some people who are not physically fat. You don't look at them and think, oh, this person's fat, but they are skinny fat. Basically, inside their body, their organs are surrounded by a level of fat. And this fat is very dangerous, and you using this diet can reduce the amount of fat that you have around the organs. Now, you may not realize it's going because it's inside your body. You can have scans done to determine if that level of fat is going down or not, but it should be with the appropriate type of low-carb eating. You should be able to reduce that, and therefore you're going to be in a lot healthier position. Fat around there and inflammation around the organs is very dangerous from a health perspective. Okay, number 5. This is a combination of lower blood sugar and insulin secretion. So when you're eating meat, eggs, cheese, depending on what it is you want to eat, and so fish and those type of things, those do not promote production of blood sugar. And you want to keep your blood sugar low. Too much blood sugar promotes disease, in my opinion. And you want to keep the blood sugar reasonably low. There's always going to be some blood sugar in your body, but you don't want to have additional blood sugar added by adding things like processed garbage, carbohydrates that are not natural from vegetables. Some fruits are, can add additional sugar through the natural sugars, fructose, and that can also increase the amount of blood sugar. You have to be careful about fruits. There are some fruits that are possible. Once you've gotten into the diet for a while, you could probably have some berries and that type of thing. But fruits you should keep to a minimum, absolutely, okay? Now, when you reduce the blood sugar, what that also does is it stops you from secreting insulin on larger levels. I mean, you always secrete a little bit. I don't think it's very rare when you don't secrete any. And when you don't secrete a lot of insulin, your body is being conditioned to burn fat as opposed to storing fat. So when you secrete significant amounts of insulin, you're going to be storing fat. You're going to cause your body to say, okay, I need to store this for a cold day or something where I'm not going to have food. Remember back in the old days, the old days where we used to hunt and gather. The body needed to store a certain amount of fat in order to be able to handle those days when they didn't have food. So that is a natural body mechanism. But you don't want that. When you're heavier, you want to be able to be burning fat, and that's what ketosis is about. Essentially, restricting carbohydrates to the level where your insulin production is low, and therefore you're going to be burning fat as opposed to storing it. And guess what? One of the added benefits, side effects of eating this type of diet or this type of way of living, if I call it a way of living because I'm doing this journey going forward. I used to do it in short-term in spurts, and I used to, okay, I lost 20 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, whatever it was, and then, okay, I'm where I want to be now. I'm going to go back to eating whatever the other way. Not anymore. Now I'm going to consistently be eating this way. It doesn't mean I'll never eat something sugary, or I'll never eat. I'll try to avoid wheat. Wheat is my enemy. I don't want to be eating wheat. I think wheat can be, first of all, it can be, it has an opiate in it where it basically makes you want to continue to eat wheat, just like a lot of carbohydrates. It makes you want to continue to eat more once you start to eat it. But I'm going to stay away from that on the majority of the time. Call it the 90-10 rule, the 80-20 rule. I'm basically not going to eat the nonsense unless I really have some one time, maybe during holidays, or maybe I want to have some potatoes or some other carbohydrates that I normally wouldn't eat. That is something you can keep in mind. So when we go on, we're going to make sure we reduce the insulin secretion. We're going to be burning fat from inside and the outside, depending on what your goals are. Just keep in mind, and I've probably said just keep in mind 50 times during this video, but keep in mind you want to feel what works for you and move forward with that. Everybody has a different body composition. Some of us, our genetic makeup has an influence on how our body responds to this type of eating. It's a positive way of eating. It's a healthier way of eating. But everybody's going to respond a little differently. So you may need to adjust certain things. Like I said, you may need to reduce caffeine, remove dairy. Some people advocate being very strict on this diet. Some people say, okay, you can treat yourself every now and then. It's up to you to decide what's important to you and how your body responds to it. My body doesn't respond at all to wheat. I just got to stay away from it, like muffins, bread, anything. Pizza even. I make meat pizza, basically using mozzarella cheese as the base, and then using all the toppings on top of that after the base gets hard. It's not bad. So, I mean, there's different ways. There's great cookbooks out there for low-carb eating, so keep that in mind. Okay, so low blood sugar, reduced insulin secretion, fat burning, big time benefits for the low carb ketogenic eating method. All right, let's talk about number 6, health benefits, and this has a number of different areas, and this is based on a lot of articles which I've read, but also based on what I've felt, how my body responds to the food, and how I feel that it's improved. First of all, one of the big things about the health benefits that maybe not a disease, but I find that I don't have as much inflammation anymore. I don't have as much bloating. I mean, my feet used to hurt when I walked, and I love walking. Now they don't hurt at all. It's amazing. So I don't feel a lot of bloating, inflammation, and inflammation within the body also can cause all kinds of health issues. So when you're eating this way, it's going to reduce the amount of inflammation. Weight, of course, the big one about health is your weight loss. If you're heavier and you're trying to work on this, this is going to promote weight loss. If you eat effectively, keep it low carb, and make sure you don't cheat too much, because you can cheat without knowing you're cheating. So that's another thing to keep in mind. If you eat the right way, you can consistently lose weight. Now, the closer to your goal you get, it's a little harder. So you're going to focus on some of the more on the items that you're eating. Some of the junk low carb items, stay away from it. If it's processed, rule of thumb, if it's processed, I would suggest just avoiding that until you get close to where you want to be, and then maybe you can add some of that back in, and that includes fruit as well. Improved triglycerides. In your body tests, in the blood tests that you get done, you're going to find that over time your triglyceride levels, if they're high, are going to start to come down. That's a definite possible benefit. Blood pressure is going to decrease, and diabetics are going to find they're going to be able to manage their disease a little better because they're not going to have spikes in blood sugar all the time. It's going to be much more effective. I'm not going to go into deep detail, but it can be a very effective management tool for diabetics. HDL, the good cholesterol, is going to improve. You're going to have a higher level of HDL cholesterol. You want good cholesterol. You want it to be, and cholesterol is very important in our body. I think it's been misunderstood. All cholesterol is basically there to help us work within our body, and there are some bad, different pattern B cholesterols which are not good, but HDL cholesterol is good, and it's going to help improve the health of our body. So this diet will help increase the HDL level. Okay, insulin sensitivity. Like I said, the more you eat this way, your sensitivity and insulin secretion will decrease, and you're going to have a better level of insulin sensitivity. So even if you do go off the wagon a little bit, once you've been doing this for a while, your sensitivity will be better, and you can bounce back onto the diet a lot more quickly, or onto this way of living. Okay, decreased blood pressure I mentioned. Okay, the last thing is really a really good one. So low carb diets are being studied right now about brain diseases, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. They're looking at the possibility that your diet can impact. And I've also been reading that certain cancers can be starved of fuel. So there's a lot of really positive things on the horizon. Of course, no proof on these yet, but I think that's definitely positive where we're going in the future. So I've rambled on, talked about a lot of the positives that I see. And I got to be honest, I will always initially was concerned about the high fat or the healthy fat side of this way of eating. I'm no longer. I feel that these foods are the healthiest way to go ahead and eat going forward. And I want to promote it. I want to have people try it. But ultimately, it's up to you to understand your body and how it responds to these foods that you're going to be eating. Now, there's plenty of resources out there on what you can eat, the different recipes. There's plenty of low-carb cookbooks. Be careful that when you're looking at these cookbooks that you be very discerning. You understand that you're not necessarily going to automatically say, okay, that works for me or that doesn't work for me. Understand the logic and the basis of this diet. Look at the recipes. Does it make sense to you? Is it something you like? I would start initially with this diet if you haven't started already. If you're in the middle of it and you've been doing this for a while, you're gonna know what I'm saying already. But if you're just starting out, focus on the basics: meat, eggs, cheese, hard cheeses, not this processed. Again, processed needs to stay out of this diet, okay? Fish is good. All these kind of things, and I'll have some resources at the bottom of this video that you can click on, link on. I'm also going to put a video for Dr. Jeff Volek, who's very big into the low-carb community, and he talks for over an hour about low carb. So if you really want some specifics about what low carb is going to be able to do for you and what you think, what he provides, what information he provides, I'm a big proponent of Dr. Volek. So I want you to look at it if you have some time. I know sometimes it can be a little overwhelming, so if not, just don't look at it. But if so, take time, take an hour and just watch it. Also, the movie Fathead by Tom Naughton. Great movie. I'll put a link to that as well, to his website, so you can take a look at that movie if you choose to. Fathead is a humorous way of looking at reducing carbohydrates and he actually did go to fast food restaurants, but that's not specific to low carb eating, but it's a very entertaining movie with a lot of great facts about how eating and how our hormones promote fat storage or fat burning depending on how you eat. All right, so I've been talking for a long time. I want to thank you for staying with me this long. My name again is Derek Mitchell. My email is niagaraedge@gmail.com. Please like this video if you do like it. I want to thank you for your time and I appreciate it. I hope this helps you in your journey, and I'd love to hear any comments as well. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day.